The Remarkable Paper Pro Move, my impressions of it, and how does it compare against the Remarkable One, a technology that I owned over 4 years ago. Now, many of you have probably seen that video of mine from over 4 years ago, and you noted that I was very enthusiastic about getting it when I first got it, and I wanted to figure out how to integrate that technology into my life. And I came to the conclusion after a couple of weeks of use that it really didn't fit into my life. And there were like so many things about it that still screamed guinea pig stage. And I felt like this technology, at least back at that time, the Remarkable One, wasn't strong enough to be like mature enough. Let's leave it at that. Mature enough to be a technology that I could use on a day-to-day basis. So, Remarkable Paper Pro Move. Now that it's been released at the end of 2024 and also the new Remarkable Paper Pro Move, is this technology any better than it was from the olden days? I'm going to give you my brutally honest opinion. So I'm going to tell you right now that for me at least, it did not impress me the way that I thought it would. So I'm comparing the retail version of this Remarkable Paper Pro Move to the one that I had for a couple of weeks and I used on a full-time basis. So I was ready to go into Best Buy and purchase the Remarkable Paper Pro Move or the Remarkable Paper Pro, and I just sat there for a good half an hour playing with this thing. Now, you might wonder, like, how could anybody be so strange as to just sit there for half an hour and play with all the features of a product? Well, here's the thing. I did not want to make the same mistake that I made with the Remarkable One. I spent a lot of money on the Remarkable One, and I wanted to make sure that this new Remarkable, which was more expensive, would fit into my life. So I sat there and I played with all of the features of it, and I was drawing things, and I was writing stuff and trying to convert things to text, which it didn't do. And I tried to search through the text, my handwritten text, which the retail version did not do. And I was like kind of disappointed by that, because if you're displaying a demo product that you want users to get excited about, that you want to sell products, you want to put the darn exact thing that you're selling out on display so that people will get excited about it and will want to buy it. So I was thinking that maybe there was like an upgrade issue, right? So the new version, it just came out, right? So a lot of people are like very excited about the new version where you can like search through handwritten text, and apparently maybe it's not out yet, right? So that could be the big issue, but a retail version should still have this, right? I mean, it just makes sense that a retail version should be kind of like up to speed on the latest updates. Even if they're in beta version, they should still be out so that you could experiment with the search through handwritten text function. Now, yeah, so some of you might be in the camp where, well, it's beta version, so we really shouldn't be seeing that in retail stores because it's not a finished product yet and stuff, but there are enough people who reviewed this search through handwritten text feature that it really could be put on a retail display just to give you an idea, a better idea of how it works versus not having it at all, and then customers are left in like the dust thinking that this thing can't really do that. And the Remarkable One that I had, if you recall, I was drawing things with that stylus and it was fun to use for a little bit, but the lines, the pixels, right, the drawings were a little coarse. This is not a lie. Like, I could draw things, yes, and the lines could be thin or the lines could be thick, but the ones that are like the in-between lines just didn't quite cut it for me. There was still like this kind of like a jaggedy kind of, like if I drew circles, there'd be like a jaggedy pixel effect around the circles. And so I was looking for that on the Paper Pro Move. And I'm going to tell you that those of you who are looking for a more realistic writing experience, you're going to get that with the Remarkable Paper Pro Move. The resolution's higher, so you can actually draw nicer circles with it, nicer curves. And I know that I don't have the product in front of me, and I'm just describing my experience, but these are going to be the same kinds of thoughts and feelings that you're going to have if you were to try to consider purchasing this thing. So if you owned a Remarkable before, like an older one, and you were considering upgrading to the new Paper Pro Move, you'd be thinking of the same things. So yes, you can draw thinner lines. The lines are more defined in circles, for example, and curves. But there's still like something that's noticeably lagging in the way that you're drawing. So it's not like a seamless kind of drawing. Sometimes it is when you're drawing small things, but when you're drawing something that's a little bit more complicated, you can see that there's that micro millimeter second lag, and that kind of bugs me. It really bugs me. And that's why I don't think that this is like the productivity tool for someone like me, like ADHD, OCD. I want to write things quickly and I want them to appear quickly. And so when I was using the Paper Pro to write in color, I would switch to the color and start writing, and I would see that the text would initially be black, but then convert to color. That bit of lag, it's very noticeable, that lag. That is enough to disrupt my senses. And that's why I don't think this thing is quite right for me. Now, it might be right for you, or someone out there who doesn't mind this lag, but for me, it just disrupts my way of thinking. And I think it's a personal preference. I think everyone has to try the new Paper Pro Move to see if it kind of gels with them, because it's not for everybody. I cannot say it's for everybody. When you're writing script on an iPad, in the programs that do allow you to write script in different colors, there's none of this black writing turning into the color kind of thing. It just allows you to scribe in color on an iPad. But here on the Remarkable, it's not quite so remarkable for me to see black text that's converted to color when it should have been on color to begin with. Now, if they can fix this lag problem, this conversion of black to color problem, then I think we've got something here. And also, with the backlit screen, that's pretty cool. But when you're not working with a backlit screen, it's very difficult to differentiate certain colors from one another. So for example, magenta and red and orange look kind of similar, and the green and blue look kind of similar. And that doesn't quite gel well with me. It just doesn't feel right to me. So it's like, why I have to use this thing in backlit mode all the time? And that's going to reduce the battery power a lot. So it's not going to give me 2 weeks of battery power on a charge. It's only under ideal conditions that I can get this 2-week battery life. That doesn't quite gel for me. So I was kind of disappointed by that. Now, the demonstration things that were on the Remarkable Paper Pro were things like, okay, you're allowed to freely scribble, do drawings, freely scribe and write notes, but there's no way on the retail version to convert these handwritten notes to text, and there was also no way to search your handwritten notes, and we just talked about why the retail version should have these features. They had this one thing where, and it was very similar to what I had in the Remarkable 1, where there's a living room and some objects in the living room, like a sofa, chairs, and you can circle around, select the sofa, and you can move it around and rotate, and that's really cool. But this is like a predetermined kind of look, right? So how would you create this very same thing for your own living room? It's not quite, I didn't quite catch how you could do this for your own living room. Is there some sort of a design software that's built in that allows me to create this living room, or is this just an example of what you possibly can do? And that's cool if that's the case, but then I was thinking, well, what happens if I want to read PDFs on it? How easy is that? It seems like it could be easy. You just subscribe to this service for $2.99 a month, and you get this storage space that allows you to upload PDFs, and then you can mark up your PDFs. But I can do that already, right? I can do that on an iPad. I have this iPad right here. I have the iPad Air, and I purchased this 4 years ago. And right now, this iPad Air is a lot more powerful than the Remarkable Paper Pro or Paper Pro Move. And so I have the pen for it too. And yeah, it costs more than the Remarkable Paper Pro, but it does a lot more too. So having this, why do I really need the Remarkable Paper Pro, right? So Then I was looking at the Paper Pro Move, which is a smaller form factor. It looks like a mini tablet kind of a thing, like a Fire tablet. And you can hold it in your palm and you can do all the remarkable things with it, right? So I was thinking that maybe I want that. So the ads for Remarkable Paper Pro and Paper Pro Move make it seem like something that you really have to have. And for me, it's like they convinced me. The ads convinced me. The ads looked so sweet, right? So the ads made you look like, oh, you can be this super productive person by having this thing. And I was lured into this. And I said, I gotta try it. I have to play test it because I don't want to send away for it and then get it. And like, you know how it was. When I got my Remarkable One, I got it in within a couple of days, few days. But then when I tried to return the thing, it took a long time to get my refund. A very long time. I didn't want to have to suffer through that again. Now, if I got it at Best Buy, I could return it within 15 days for a full refund. That's awesome. Unless you have the, I think it's called Total Tech or something like that, where you pay the subscription fee to Best Buy and you get 60 days to be able to return something. That's cool. And for that reason, I'd recommend Best Buy's Total Tech subscription. It's a little pricey. It's like, I think it's like $200 a year, and then you have extended warranty and you can return things in a longer time frame. So that's worth it. But in the 15 days, I was thinking, if I get this and then I have to return it, that's like I have to pay for gas. I have to I have to take time out to go back and return this thing. Is it really worth it? And so that's why I sat there or stood there for half an hour and just worked through all the little things about the tablet. And I wanted to see if this was really the right thing for me. Remember that the Remarkable One had buttons on the bottom, and that was cool because these buttons could be assigned to different things. Whereas the Remarkable 2 and the Paper Pro Move and the Paper Pro, they don't have these buttons on the bottom. They're electronic, so they're on the screen somewhere. So my first order of business was to try to see where these buttons could be, right? So I was like, without reading any instructions, I looked at this blank page, this blank piece of paper that's on the screen, and I was like, oh, there's a little circle with a dot in it. That must do something. Click on that. Lo and behold, there's the menu on the left side. Pretty cool, right? And so then I started selecting things. Like, at first I was in this brush mode, and so I was like, oh, this is kind of a thick line that I'm drawing here. And then I changed it to pencil mode, and so I got the thin, sharper lines on that, and I was like very pleased with that. And then I tried switching to color, and that's where all heck breaks loose because of the black writing that I initially write, and then there's a little bit of pause as the black turns into the color that you selected. And again, that doesn't gel well with me. If other platforms allow you to write in color from the very start, then Remarkable should have that built in too. Now, that's not to say that this is not going to appear in a future version of the software. It might very well appear in a future version of the software. But in this retail mode, this retail version that I saw, it didn't have that. I was very disappointed. And then I tested the eraser. The eraser is kind of cool, right? You flip the pen over and you start erasing, but do you really need that? I was thinking, well, yes and no. I guess the eraser is kind of strange, right? So if you're drawing a picture and then you try to erase it, you have to really erase all of it. It's not like you can just erase a part of it, like say 80% of it, and then the object disappears. No, you have to physically erase everything of the picture. So it's actually easier to just do the selection tool, circle the item that you want to erase, and then it disappears, right? Like that's what I would be using most of the time if I were to try to get rid of objects in a picture. So that's cool, and I don't think I would need the eraser on the marker. So I would get the regular marker, then the marker plus, because for me, $50 saved on flipping this thing over and attempting to use this eraser is like, the eraser is kind of silly to me. But I can see why some people might like the eraser, because it feels more like a pencil, right? So the big question that a lot of you might have now is, how does this feel in terms of writing, and how does it feel compared to the Remarkable One? Okay, so those of you who've purchased this technology from the get-go, who have the Remarkable One, you might be wondering, okay, is it an improvement over the Remarkable One? When I was writing with it, I didn't feel, that is, much of a difference at all. it still felt like it wasn't quite a pencil on paper. And again, it's a psychological thing. Some of you might think that it's totally fine, but others who have used pencils extensively, artists, for example, you kind of know what pencil on paper, graphite on paper feels like. This is very close, but to me, it's not close enough. And this is no slight to anyone's artistic abilities or anything like that, because some of you might be fantastic artists, but if you like that graphite on paper kind of feel, this is not exactly it. And again, your mileage may vary. Maybe you feel like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Maybe you feel it's better than drawing on an iPad. The iPad is more like you're using a pen to write, but you're not really using a pen on paper on an iPad. You're using a pen on basically glass, and that's a totally different feeling than pen on paper. So I would say that the Remarkable is, yes, the little bit of friction that they add on the pen tip gives you that pencil on paper feeling, but it's not exact. It's not a pen. It's not like a pen on paper. It's more like a pencil on paper, but not exactly like a pencil on paper. Maybe a certain type of pencil, a certain type of graphite, but not the type that I actually like. So they had different nibs, different pen tips that felt like, say, a number 2 pencil versus a firmer pencil versus a softer pencil. I think I would be on board with that than what they have here, which is this one universal tip that you have to really love to use extensively. Now, can I see myself using this product on a day-to-day basis? So with my Remarkable One, I discovered that like the first week or so, I was using it heavily. And then after that, I started using it less and less. So I thought to myself, if I'm not using this every single day for my productivity, then it's a waste of my money. And I felt like it was a big waste of my money to get that Remarkable One, and that's why I returned it. And the same thing here. If I had purchased this more expensive Remarkable Paper Pro or the Paper Pro Move, I feel like I would be using it for the first few days very extensively, and then it would start tapering off and not using it as much. I really like the feeling of writing pencil or pen, my choice, in a notebook. And a notebook has so many more advantages than writing on one of these tablets. A notebook allows you to turn pages very quickly. Right? If I wanted to jump from this page to the next page, it's right there. And you can say, yeah, well, I can tap on this little thing on the screen and go to the next page. Great. But what if I wanted to jump 100 pages? Or let's think like this. Maybe 100 pages is already programmed in there somehow, right? So that you can press another button to jump 100 pages. But what if I wanted to move 86 or 87 pages, right? Something like that. How do I quickly do that? You can't with a paper tablet. You just can't. And then what if I wanted to, get this now, with a notebook, bookmark sections in the book? So I've got 3 bookmarks now, and you see them on top here. Now you might say, oh, you can do that on a Remarkable. You can just bookmark your pages and stuff like that, but it's not the same. Because here I can like, oh wait, I think I remember that passage from this story, and it was probably the 2nd or 3rd bookmark. So here I can just simply go to the 2nd bookmark and immediately flip to it. And then if it's not that, if I quickly skim through, I can then look for the 3rd bookmark. Now you might think, oh, well, the search function will allow you to do that. But you don't quite exactly remember the phrase that you're looking for. You might know some words from the phrase, but those words might exist in multiple instances all throughout the text. So if you're looking for that exact phrase, the best thing to do, if you remember it somewhat, right, is to use these bookmarks. And it's not quite the same with a tablet. With a book that you can flip to any page, it's easy. And again, paper versus pen, I like to switch between the two. For more permanent things I'm writing, I use a pen. For things that are like drawings that I could like modify, I use a pencil. And so you don't get that feeling with a Remarkable tablet. It's just this one kind of feeling when you're writing. There's no variance. And I think for me, psychologically, I need that variance. I need to be able to know when I'm writing with a pen or when I'm writing with a pencil. Very important to me. Do I think this product has a use for other people? Yes. I think it's a very useful product. I think the Remarkable could be a very useful tool for a lot of people in their day-to-day productivity. But for me, it's like I look at the cost-benefit trade-off of getting an electronic device. And if you are going to sell me a product that costs on the order of $500 or more, I have to use this thing every single day in some fashion. And just using it to jot notes down and reminders and things like that, and maybe highlight PDFs, I'm sorry, it's just not enough. There's got to be more. It's got to be able to like do audiobooks, for example, and maybe I can read comic books on it very well. And I think you can probably read comic books on it if you converted your comic books, whatever files they are, from whatever service you're using into some PDF formats that you can then view on this Remarkable, but I'm not sure you can actually do that with like the subscription services like Marvel and DC. Pretty sure you can't. So it's easier to do it if you've got like a Kindle kind of thing, like a Kindle Scribe, you can read your comic books. And then if you don't have that capability to read comic books, then what? What about apps? Maybe I want to do more than what the Remarkable has inside of its function. So yes, the Remarkable is supposed to be doing a limited set of functions really well. And an iPad does like much more, maybe not so well, but that's debatable. I think I'd rather go for an iPad than to get a Remarkable. And no slight to the Remarkable product, no slight to the people who use the Remarkable product, because this product might work really well for them. But for me, it just doesn't justify the cost. $500 is a lot. And it's going to be more than $500, by the way. So that's just the Paper Pro Move, the little handheld tablet. If you want to get the big one, it's a lot more than $500. So I don't think it's worth it for me. If you're writing a lot, if you're writing the next great novel, I'm not sure I'd want to use that either, to be quite honest, because I've written books. I have here Breathe, Believe, Do. I also have, it's not here, but I have a 250-page textbook on yoga that I wrote, and I did it all on my computer. I typed, and I wore out a keyboard, actually. I had to get a keyboard completely replaced because I wore out the keyboard so much with writing that first 250-page book. So yeah, it was a 2-year project in the making, continuous typing, lunchtimes, giving up lunchtimes and just writing my book. So I found it to be a lot more productive to type than to start jotting notes in a notebook and then transcribing the stuff to a computer somehow, like using OCR, optical character recognition software. And I think if I had something like the Remarkable, I'd just go like batshit nuts trying to figure out like, did I write this on page 45? Did I write this in chapter 7? Like, I don't think I'd be very productive writing my books on a Remarkable. And again, that's just me. You might write the great American novel using a Remarkable, and that's great for you. But for me, it's like I would go crazy trying to like flip back and forth and see what I wrote and stuff, and I would be less productive with a Remarkable than I would be with a laptop or even an iPad. And that's my brutally honest review of the Remarkable. So everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.